Speaking of what the hell was this? That was my reaction the whole second half of this Eagles Buccaneers game that took place on Sunday. And the Eagles offense over the last four halves of football, I can't explain it to you. The first half of the Rams game and the second half of the Bucs game, they can't move the ball if they wanted to. And the second half of the Rams game and the first half against the Bucs game, they couldn't be stopped.
Yeah, this has to be one of the most confounding and confusing 4-0 teams I have ever seen. Because you got like A.J. Brown tweeting, Bible verses or whatever.
Now that I don't really care about, to be honest with you. I think the media is making that a bigger story than what it should be. I get it. A.J. Brown last week had 2 catches for 7 yards, and he is a wide receiver. I understand that whole perspective. But it is also not like outside of week 1, they're not trying to get him the ball. He had 8 targets in week 2. He had 9 targets in week 3, and he had 10 targets in this game against Tampa. The problem from what I'm seeing is what the Rams did in the first half and what the Bucs did in the second half of that Eagles game was, number one, Lane Johnson once again goes out. Kevin Steen, our right guard, went out on Sunday as well. So there's a whole new right side of the offensive line in there. And they are sending 10 players on a blitz. They are saying, we are stopping Saquon Barkley, Jalen Hurts. We're going to leave your receivers one-on-one on the outside. And the Eagles' offensive line, which has been elite, it's been top 2, I would argue the number 1 offensive line in the NFL, really over the past decade. They have not done a good job this year at picking up pressure. It's forcing Jalen Hurts to get rid of the ball more quickly. It's forcing him to be inaccurate. And that's what's causing, I think, the misconnection with A.J. Brown is they want to take these shots down the field. But when they dial it up, it's either the pressure gets home and Jalen can't get the ball off, or they are anticipating man coverage. They are getting zone coverage, and Jalen can't find A.J. Brown over the top. Because when you go back and you see the all-22, you can see they are sending A.J. Brown on deep routes. Either Jalen Hurts just isn't pulling the trigger or he's not connecting with it.
I think part of the reason Jalen isn't pulling the trigger, I don't know what a trigger is, but either way, I want to know if you agree with me on this. Jalen Hurts has never really been a risk-taking quarterback. And I feel like this Eagles offense has never really been a risk-taker type of offense. Do you agree with me on that one?
So I kind of do. In 2023, he took a lot of risks because he was trying to validate the fact that he got paid the big contract, and it led to the 15 interceptions. It led to the historic collapse, obviously. And Jalen, I think he threw 4 or 5 interceptions for the first 4 weeks of last year. Then at the bye week, remember last year, week 5 was our bye week. At 2-2, they changed the entire offense. It was way more Saquon Barkley dependent, and I think now they have drilled it into Jalen Hurts' head that we have such a good defense, you don't need to turn the football over. If it's not there, check it down to Saquon or run and slide, and, we'll put the ball, we'll play good defense. As long as we don't turn the football over, we should be able to win the game.
And that's where I think part of the problem is that it's been so ingrained in Jalen's head that we have such a good defense. You don't need to take the big shot. You don't need to go after A.J. Brown or Devontae. He's not willing to take the big shot. At least.
Yes, and the other thing is, too, they were more aggressive in the Super Bowl year when we lost to Kansas City, Super Bowl 57 under Shane Steichen. That was the first year A.J. Brown was there. One, because Miles Sanders wasn't as explosive a running back as Saquon Barkley. But 2, nobody saw Jalen Hurts be a deep ball thrower down the field before, and they took advantage of it, and he was a very accurate deep ball thrower. Last year, same thing, where they would, they'd run the ball with Saquon, and then once teams would come down, they would take their shot over the top, and Jalen was very good at it last year. Now they're saying, you know what? we don't care how good of a thrower you are. We're going to make sure you don't even throw the ball deep because we are going to send every single person at Saquon Barkley, who's been getting hit way behind the line of scrimmage way too much, and it's throwing off the rhythm of the offense. But again, maybe it's just a fan in me. It's hard to criticize the Eagles when they have literally almost put on a historic feat in the NFL where they have only lost one total game, including the regular and postseason, in the last 365 days. Their last loss outside of the Bucs game last year on September 29th, so 366 days ago, was the game at Washington when Jalen Hurts got hurt in the first quarter. We were up 21-7 in that game, and then Jaden Daniels makes the incredible comeback.
Yeah. Teams have definitely made an adjustment defensively and are playing Saquon differently. I'll give you that. But it feels like Jalen isn't making those adjustments to what the defenses have done in terms of their adjustments. And
I'll counter that by saying they made the adjustment against the Rams. They clearly did. It was a different game plan. And they came out in the first half against Tampa, and it was a completely different game plan. They threw the ball. What happened was, again, to both of our earlier points, they got up so big, 23-7 at halftime. It's like they basically went in a show in the second half and said, there's no way our defense can give up 16 points a game. Let's just not turn the football over and we'll win the game.
And I think part of that is Tampa went into the locker room at halftime. They made adjustments. You guys, I felt like, did not counter those adjustments.
And I agree with that. However, I will say this. The only way the Bucs technically scored 2 touchdowns in the second half were on 2 fluky long plays by Baker Mayfield. Because if you think about it, their 2 touchdowns in that game was the incredible throw to Ibuka, which Reed Blankenship mistimed his jump on her. That would have probably been an incomplete pass. And the other one was when Baker just bought time in the pocket, shrugged off a couple of potential sacks, and threw the ball down the left sideline to Rashard White. Those 2 big strides are the only way Tampa Bay scored touchdowns the entire game.
I understand that, but again, it goes back to my bigger point. Tampa made adjustments, and you guys did it.
I agree, but again, it goes back to the Eagles' point, which was they can make all the adjustments in the world they want, even if it did come down to a final possession and defense stop. They felt like they were in control of the game. And this team now, in my opinion, against very quality opponents, Kansas City, the Rams, and Tampa now back-to-back weeks, they have shown different ways to win. They can show we can throw on you early, we can throw late, we can run late, we can win with defense. They are basically turning into, Josh, last year's Chiefs, which is they're going to be ridiculed. Everybody's going to say they're not that good because they're winning all these one-possession games, or they're a lucky team, but yet they just keep on winning.
Right. I'm not trying to say that they're a fluky 4-0 to start the season. That's not what I'm trying to get at here. But like I said, they are one of the most confusing and confounding 4-0 teams. It makes no sense. It feels like they are missing Kellen Moore more than we initially thought. You knew it was going to be a big
miss Kellen Moore. I liked Kevin Patullo, but I was if you recall, to the Super Bowl, I said I thought it was a mistake for Kellen Moore to take the Saints job. I wanted Kellen Moore back. Now, again, I think that the offense is going to take time because if you remember, I keep pointing to this. Everybody keeps forgetting that last year's Eagles started off 3-2, and they almost lost to Deshaun Watson's Browns in Week 6. This Eagles team did not take off last year till Week 7 when they pummeled the Giants and Saquon Barkley's return to the Meadowlands.
Yes, that part is true. I get it. And you saw it with Detroit. Like, we were, after Week 1, we were like, what is going on with the Lions? And yet they're now firing on all cylinders.
Yep.